Pravit Moy Druzy. I know I'm at an angle. I'm at an angle, my friends, because this is how I feel when I'm talking about this topic. I'm scratching my head trying to make some sense out of what happened here. And instead of feeling like I'm right side up and proper, I just feel like I'm off balance trying to talk about this. So that's why I'm doing it. Okay, so here's what's happened. So Putin made a surprise visit to Ukraine, or what he would call Russian territory in the newly acquired oblasts. It's still Ukraine. So he makes this surprise visit, and things just don't seem to add up. And there's some things that don't add up, and then there's some things that are just stupid beyond comprehension that I just can't understand. And if you understand this, I would love to hear what you have to say about this. Okay, so let me go through a couple of articles. I'm going to go through one RT, one BBC, and then we'll look at the video of what actually transpired as well. So President Vladimir Putin's made an unannounced visit to two command posts in Russia's newly incorporated territories, so says RT, Russian state media. According to a statement, Putin traveled to the command center of the Dnieper battle group located in Kherson area. We don't know exactly where that is, but it says it's in Kherson Oblast. The president also made a trip to the Luhansk People's Republic, where he visited the Vostok East Command Center of the National Guard, allegedly again. Putin's surprise visit comes as Kyiv prepares to launch a counteroffensive in which Western-supplied heavy tanks and new armored vehicles are expected to be involved. Okay, so I get that. He's going to kind of bolster the troops, but his actions don't seem to bolster the troops, and that's the weird thing to me. The recent months of Ukraine conflict have been marked by fierce fighting for Donbass mining city of, and this is the Russian term for Bakhmut. Prigozhin, the head of the Russian private military company Wagner Group, claimed last week that his forces controlled more than 80% of the city. Okay, so if that's the case, why would you go anywhere but Bakhmut? Why would you go somewhere that's not the place that needs to be shorn up? That's weird thing number one. So weird thing number two is that he shows up again, the second time in a couple of months. But then there's other weird things, and I'm going to show you this video in just a moment, but let's go on to the BBC article. So the BBC article shows a couple other things. Mr. Putin's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, said that the visit took place on 17 April. However, footage initially posted on the Kremlin website contradicts this statement. Huh? I mean, are you guys amateurs? Like, you're supposed to be the PR department of one of the leading, largest countries. Like, what's going on? So, in the clip released by Putin's press office, the Russian president can be clearly heard saying that Easter holiday is coming up. Orthodox Easter was celebrated on 16 April, the day before the date claimed by Mr. Peskov. So that's weird thing number three. Now, you could be he could have missed it and said the wrong date, but he's not backing down from that. Putin could have forgotten that he was in church. I mean, I guess that could happen. That seems a little less likely. Or it could have been filmed some other time entirely, and that seems more likely. But that's a big weird thing. Like, why lie about something stupid? Like, that's what I just don't understand. Now, there are other weird things in here, too, and I'm going to show them to you in just a moment. The video on the Kremlin website has since been edited with Putin's words coming up removed. Such trips by Russian leader are rare, and he made a surprise visit to Mariupol. But you remember when he made that surprise visit to Mariupol, like, you had the actor types around him, people surrounding him, like he's meeting these people in the streets of Mariupol in the dead of night, and they happen to be people that were, like, somehow connected to him before, right? And then I'm not even going to get into the controversy of whether this is a body double or anything like that. That's above my pay grade. But that'd be weird thing number four. The people that are around him. So I'm not saying that those people are around him, but we'll find out in short order whether those are those people that were around him. Weird thing number five. Later in the video, he presents what's reported to be a copy of an icon he said belonged to one of the most decorated defense ministers of the Russian army in the 16th century. So I don't know enough about Greek or Russian Orthodox to understand does a copy of an icon do something? Like, is that, like, does this bolster you somehow, or is it just kind of a interesting novel gift? I mean, like, it looks cool, but I mean, I don't understand more than that. It's also said that the Russian defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, chief of the general staff, and Valery Gerasimov did not accompany the president on this trip, as it was a big risk for Russia's top commander to be in one place so close to the front line. Big, weird thing number 6. And that's because that they went out of their way to say that tells me that they probably weren't. Only because it's Russian state media tells me that they're going out of their way to say something that's not true, because that's the pattern that I have seen in Russian state media, and I could be wrong about that, but it seems to be that's how they roll. And now this is the BBC that's carrying this. They couldn't independently verify things, but Bloomberg also verified the idea that it was the 17th. They said that Easter's coming up, and that so Bloomberg caught him with that as well. And so I'm going to show you the video, and it's just one weird thing after another. So all those weird things, and then Putin's not behaving like Putin tends to behave. So here's the video, and let's see what happens. Okay, first, no rotor. So how long were you sitting there while that thing stopped? Okay, he gets off and he's shaking hands. Are these actors that he knows, or has he changed his pattern of behavior? Because he normally does not go anywhere near anyone. Like if you see him meeting with a Chinese military attaché that was in the Kremlin the other day, he was off at a table at a distance. So he's way too close and way too chummy to these people. So is he not afraid? Like, look how close he's sitting to these people. He never does that. So I'm not going to say that this is an actor, but has he changed his tune and he's like okay with being in close quarters with people now? Because he's kind of in close proximity. So it's very, now here he's given the icon. He's presenting the icon. I don't know why this is an important thing, but that could be my ignorance, and I plead my own ignorance. I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know. Okay. There he is, he's about to leave. He's also shaking hands with everyone, where he's a germaphobe who's trying to not do that, generally speaking. Wouldn't even get anywhere near the American ambassador with that. Other, views around the area, a billboard about Kherson. Some aerial footage. He's getting off the helicopter yet again. Let's highlight our planes here and our helicopters and how awesomely militarily tough we are. Now he's meeting with another commander in a different location. Now somehow in the plane he changed into a turtleneck. I'm not exactly sure why, or if it's a different day. It could be a different day. And there's no harm in saying that this is a different day. He made a 2-day trip instead of a 1-day trip. On these days, before Easter or after, I don't think matters. But that they lied about it being the day after Easter when he's mentioning Easter's coming up is a very, very strange thing that I can't understand why you'd lie about something so stupid. So that's essentially the video. That's the end of that. So why is this important? It's important, and I can't quite right myself here and really understand what's going on here, because when I look at how Putin's behaved in the past, and I talk here about why Putin can't stop. He's doubling down, because, and I would expect him to double down. This is the way that dictators behave. But why lie about something so stupid? I just can't get my mind around. Now, I'm sure that Jake Bro and Anna and Vlad and others will all be talking about these kind of things in the days coming up, and Ukraine Matters will cover it, I'm sure, and all the decent channels that you watch. But this is what we know as soon as we know it early on in the sequence. So my thoughts aren't well developed at this point, so they shouldn't come out of the oven yet. But I just I haven't been able to process it yet. So that's where we are with Putin's visit. I don't know how helpful that is, but maybe that'll help you get to the next step. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.